Well, it's certainly been a rough few days, members of the Altcoin Buzz army, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're going to be discussing the two main factors of FUD in today's video, namely the fact that we have another round of crackdowns in China. They're shutting down mining operations, Bitcoin mining in the province of Sichuan. Ultimately, this is not a bad thing long-term for the space, in my opinion. It's positive, actually. We'll get to that. But in the short term, the sensationalism ensues, as always, and people with weak hands, in my humble opinion, sell off. We're seeing that right now. We also have this looming Bitcoin death cross where potentially, and now we're coming up very close to it, where potentially the 50-day moving average dips below the 200-day moving average. Now, historically, that's resulted in different manifestations as far as what the price does. It's gone up in the past. It's gone down more often than not, to be quite fair. But we'll take a look at some of those precedents. We're also, of course, going to be giving away $50 worth of Ethereum at the end of today's video. So we're going to give you guys what I think is a fair assessment of the current situation. Plan B then has a worst case scenario for Bitcoin for the months of July, August, September. In fact, a worst case scenario leading all the way up until December of 2021. Spoiler alert, it's not as bad as you think, but stay tuned in the video for that. If you like this kind of content, guys, be sure to like and subscribe to Altcoin Buzz News. Well, as you can see, we're on CoinGecko.com, and it is a blood red kind of day. The total market is down 6.8%. Projects pretty much across the board down in the last hour, the last day, and the last 7 days. Bitcoin down 7.2% in these last 24 hours, sitting now at about $33,500. You guys can check out the prices for your own. I'm not a masochist here. I don't want to go over this just for the sake of telling you guys how ugly the prices are. You can see it is a red sea, unfortunately. You know, I don't want to offer too much financial advice. Everybody has their own reaction, what they do in times like these. Hopefully you're not over leveraged. But you do have to buy red to enjoy the profits. You got to buy up assets when blood is running in the streets in order to accumulate true wealth in one form or another. And if you want to increase your cryptocurrency holdings, your sats, your GUI, your altcoins, not financial advice, but I am certainly going to be not only buying up this dip, I will continue to buy up this dip. I made a couple of entries into Ethereum and Chainlink yesterday, actually. I figured, okay, I think we've kind of found the local bottom to a certain extent. I guess we didn't, but that doesn't discourage me. It tells me, okay, I have another opportunity. I was wrong and I have an even better opportunity now. I'm going to be thanking myself probably, in my opinion, in 6 months' time, in a year's time, 5 years' time, what have you. I leave those personal decisions up to you guys because none of this is financial advice. Let's take a look at what is crashing the market right now. We're on finance.yahoo.com. China's cryptocurrency mining crackdown intensifies, spreads to Sichuan. So we've been hearing about China FUD really since, forever, like for years and years and years. And to be fair, there have been certain instances like this one where some of the FUD has been, I don't want to say warranted, because the fear, the uncertainty, the doubt isn't warranted per se. But some of the FUD at least has been based on reality, where there have been crackdowns. And this is one such instance where the Chinese government, at least in the province of Sichuan, is cracking down this time. Some of the claims have been exaggerated in the past, have been overblown. But here, this is going back a couple of days, but I think this latest crash, whatever you want to call it, represents the perfect storm, the culmination of China FUD, the culmination of just negative and downtrodden market sentiment, and the fact now that you have this looming death cross. So kind of all three are coming together for a perfect negative storm. On Friday, a couple days ago, the Sichuan branch of the National Development and Reform Commission, the NDRC, and the Sichuan Energy Bureau ordered cryptocurrency mining projects closed in the major mining center. That commission demanded the closure of 26 suspected cryptocurrency mining projects by Sunday in the province, and the authorities have ordered state electricity companies in Sichuan to conduct inspections and make corrections. In addition, they have been asked to immediately stop supplying electricity to crypto mining projects, which they have detected. I don't really have the proof of this, and I tried to look up some different articles or whatnot that would back the claim. There's not really a whole lot of them at the moment, but my feeling is that what we're seeing right now is the Chinese government trying to get a firm handle and like all-out control, Not so much on Bitcoin, actually. They want to perhaps discourage that where it's not officially sanctioned. They obviously need to be able to control any assets that are going to be prominent in the country. So they don't have a lot of control over Bitcoin at the moment. But I feel personally that this is much more about their CBDC, the Chinese digital yuan, their central bank digital currency, also known as the DCEP, digital currency electronic payment, because we're seeing more and more news out of that, especially out of Beijing, and all of their plans for the future of their digital yuan. And perhaps this is a timing thing. Perhaps this is, them on the world stage kind of flouting one and disparaging the other by design. It's kind of, if you want to call it like a federal marketing campaign for the CBDC. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go anywhere, even in China, in the long term. But for the time being, they're kind of dressing themselves up that way as a nation to project to the world, in my opinion, what they feel is the strength of their CBDC project. So China's cryptocurrency mining crapdown. It feels like a crapdown. It feels like we're being crapped all over. Crackdown spreads to Sichuan. This was originally broken by Reuters here. You can read about it on globaltimes.cn. Over 90% of China's Bitcoin mining to be closed after Sichuan ban. And I'll tell you why in a second this isn't a bad thing, but the province of Sichuan, southwest China, that's where you'll find Sichuan province, one of China's largest cryptocurrency mining bases, was closed on Sunday, according to local authorities, who ordered the halt of mining in the region on Friday amid an intensified nationwide crackdown against cryptocurrency mining. The ban also means that more than 90% of China's Bitcoin mining capacity is estimated to be shut down, at least for the short term, as regulators in other key mining hubs in China's north and southwest region have taken similar harsh steps. Quote, "The exit window is closing and we're scrambling to find overseas mines to place our mining devices," a Sichuan-based industry insider who spoke on condition of anonymity told the Global Times on Sunday. I don't think that in the long term, China's just going to abandon the prospect of cryptocurrency in this game theory kind of geopolitical game of chess that we find ourselves in right now, or that we're witnessing internationally with El Salvador, with Panama, Paraguay, all the other Central American and South American countries that are getting into this space. I don't think China is going to close the door on the opportunity to be a world leader in Bitcoin. I think it's just a question of the government wanting to be able to control it. I can't quite prove that. I don't have a crystal ball into the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, but I have this, call it a gut feeling. I have this suspicion that they want to slow things down at the level of everything that is unregulated, and they're going to come back very strong with their own proposals, their government-mandated initiatives that are overseen at a federal level by the CCP. That's what I think. But even if that doesn't happen, you think about, okay, 90% of China's Bitcoin mining, let's say hypothetically it gets wiped out. Here's why it's a good thing. You have calls by individual like Francis Suarez, who's saying, look, if you guys want, come on over to Miami, come on over to the United States, come on over for more sustainable green Bitcoin mining that we're going to be able to implement because we want to get this done. And this is the beauty of the free market at a mass level. If you have this crackdown happening in one corner of the world, in China, you have more inviting markets. You have mining havens, crypto havens that are going to be more accommodating. So Miami mayor offers cities clean nuclear power to Chinese Bitcoin miners. Mayor Francis Suarez wants to make Miami a Bitcoin mining hub by offering the city's cheap, clean nuclear energy supply. So speaking with CNBC, this was on Thursday, Mayor Suarez said he's inviting foreign mining companies to consider establishing data centers in the city. We talked just a moment ago about how that one anonymous commenter was saying that he was looking for international options. This appears to be one. And look, this is anecdotal. The city of Miami will not ever be able to realistically absorb all of the exodus if, the Sichuan miners do intend to leave. Miami's limited in terms of that capacity, but it's an anecdotal example of what's going to happen elsewhere. This is going to happen, I'm sure, in more northern climates. This is going to happen in Texas. We may see a similar response maybe by Governor Greg Abbott there, who seems to be at least a little, at the very least lukewarm to cryptocurrency on the idea of Bitcoin mining, where that's taking on more sustainable initiatives in the form of mega solar panel mining farms. And that's just what's being proposed. It's only really just the beginning, in my opinion. Nuclear energy, I've never been opposed to personally. I don't know why we don't go more nuclear at a mass level. Where I'm in the province of Quebec. In Canada, we have massive hydroelectric natural resources. Well, hydro resources, I suppose, and then we build on the electric part. So there's no reason that we can't harness the existing energy, whether it's volcanoes or nuclear or hydro or solar, to really kind of pivot out of this negative news, this negative China FUD news, and really make it a good thing in the long term for not only the look of Bitcoin, but for that ecosystem, that green energy ecosystem. Think about all of the FUD that we've been experiencing really since some of the initial Elon Musk tweets where he was saying, this is a negative space. I didn't say it. I'm kind of, paraphrasing him intentionally harshly, but saying that this is an unsustainable energetic space because it's powered by dirty Chinese coal plants. Well, if a lot of those so-called, dirty Bitcoin mining Chinese coal plants are now shutting down, is that not a good thing for the space? You see what I mean? We're kind of irrational in this space because we complain about one thing, and then when there's some development that is perhaps an advancement in line with some of those criticisms, we still panic, we still sell off, or at least a lot of the weekends do. When in reality, this is an opportunity for new people to gobble up some of whether it's that specific processing power provided by the mining hardware, or we create new systems and new mining farms. There's really an opportunity right now to take this negative and pivot it into a positive by reinforcing, by building up the renewable mining base of Bitcoin's network. So that was one bit of negative news. That was one element of the FUD, the Sichuan Bitcoin mining ban. Here's the other bit of FUD, I suppose, it's been out there for a while, but we're now on a trajectory for this so-called Bitcoin death cross. And again, in conjunction with everything else that we've been seeing right now, the other elements of FUD in the market, this is just kind of exacerbating things. Unfortunately, on Coindesk.com, market wrap, Bitcoin drops ahead of looming death cross. Bitcoin's death cross could increase selling pressure into the weekend. So this is from a couple days ago. As we saw, that's exactly what it did. We saw a pretty weak weekend performance. In fact, I think we're down, at the time of this recording, we're down like these last 6 days in a row. We've had quite a few negative candles, even on the daily now, for the past week or so. If you're not familiar with the death cross, here's what it looks like. It's basically the 50-day moving average showing a sign of weakness and meeting and ultimately falling below the 200-day moving average. Now, historically, we have a half dozen or so precedents where this has happened. Some of them have actually resulted in positive price action, but about 2/3 or so have resulted in harsh negative action. I don't imagine we could go too much more negative, to be honest, just because this is happening. I mean, if anything, you look at what some of the analysts are saying, those that are more kind of focused and zeroed in on the charts, they're saying, look, I mean, anything could happen. This is a lagging indicator after all. The death cross only really shows us what's been happening sort of in these last few weeks and months. And in that sense, is it a good thing? No, it's not a good thing if the 50 EMA drops below the 200-day moving average. But what does that suggest? It suggests that, lately we've been suffering, and lately the price has been depressed and arguably oversold. Okay, well, we knew that already. So taking a look at some of the historical, actually that's not here, but there's other factors here. You can take a look at this article. We also have the founder of Coinbase, one of the co-founders, I should say, that's issuing a warning against everything that's happening right now. Coinbase co-founder Fred Arsam has warned, quote, most cryptocurrencies and crypto assets won't work, and 90% he feels of NFTs will have little to no value in 3 to 5 years. Some of the artsy-fartsy ones, at least, I think I agree. So Bitcoin's death cross, despite its ominous name, appears to be a lagging price indicator, as we were just discussing. But everybody knows that. I mean, that's not anything revolutionary. The last time the trading pattern occurred in March of last year, 2020, it heralded a huge Bitcoin bull run that helped even smaller cryptocurrencies surge to new all-time highs. So I think people are talking about the death cross as inherently negative. But even here on Forbes.com, the suggestion is that, sometimes it has been negative, but you take a look at the most recent example last year, just over a year ago, it was actually a good thing. People are going to try all sorts of things. That's a quote by Ursum, who has gone on to found the blockchain investment firm Paradigm since leaving Coinbase a few years ago, warning many of those smaller cryptocurrencies won't survive. There will be millions and millions of cryptocurrencies and crypto assets. Maybe not millions, but there'll be a lot. Just like there were millions and millions of websites. Most of them won't work. You can take a look at the rest of his comments here. Interesting that this is being covered by Forbes, at least at the death cross level, in a quasi-positive light. I found that interesting. CryptoPotato.com. Bitcoin death cross 2021 is here. The reasons why you shouldn't be worried. And just to be clear, I fully expect this is going to happen at this point. I'm not concerned about it happening. I'm kind of curious, not concerned, but curious to see what kind of price action we're going to see following the death cross. But here's what's interesting. The death cross's reliability in cryptocurrency. So here's some of the precedents here. Historical death crosses until golden crosses time in days, plus the largest price swing since death cross begins. So as you can see, going all the way back to 2011, 180 days between the death cross and the golden cross, with negative 59% market retracement. A few years later, 90 days between the two with an 83% surge. And then you have several 2014, 2018, 2019 death crosses with long periods of time until golden crosses, negative 63%, negative 55%, negative 29%. And then in 2020, as we spoke about in that Forbes article, 50 days between the death cross and the golden cross, but that resulted in a 66% uptick. So more recently and more often than not, the death crosses have resulted in serious negative price action. Who's to say what's going to happen now? I am kind of the opinion that we're too oversold. We're too beaten up already for things to drop another 50, 60, 70%. I mean, imagine 80%. I don't see that personally. If it happens, not financial advice, I will be buying up that dip like a fiend, like never before. I'm going to redouble my efforts and redouble about 100 times. But it remains to be seen. Let me know what you guys think about this death cross in the comments below. I'm cautiously, I don't want to say cautiously optimistic, but I would like to think that, if anything, we perhaps are met with a little bit of positive news at the same time. And then maybe it's one of those instances where we rebound sharply towards the positive. I'm not sure. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments below. Before now we get to our $50 Ethereum giveaway, I want to cover what may be the worst case scenario for Bitcoin, and by extension, the rest of the cryptocurrency market. This is according to Plan B. So this is his worst case scenario, really, if all hell breaks loose. Now, with that kind of exposition, I want to point out that it's really not as bad as you think. And this is kind of why, again, not financial advice, but it's why we suggest you buy the dip, you hold, you walk away, you kind of brush off any stress that you may have, and you come back in 6 months, a year, in a few years, because here's Plan B's point of view. Bitcoin is below $34,000, triggered by Elon Musk's energy FUD and China's mining crackdown. There's also a more fundamental reason that we see weakness in June and possibly July. So my worst case scenario for 2021, price on-chain based. August, above 40,000. I think that means two. August to $40,000, September to $43,000, October to $63,000, November $98,000, and December $135,000. As you know, Plan B's stock to flow model calls for a 288, I believe, 290 or so $1,000 Bitcoin by the end of this year. And what he's saying here is look, let's say this death cross really turns out to be a disaster. Let's say we do drop and it's another instance of a 50, 60, 70, 80% drop. Let's just say it's a calamity. It's a total catastrophe, and that happens. We're going to have, if that is the case, we're going to have a very rough June. We're going to have a rough July, no doubt about it. And we're going to have probably a slow recovery. But even if that is the case, based on the stock to flow model, which eventually we're going to have to return to, because that's, I don't want to say it's some kind of economic law. It's not some fundamental physical law of the universe, but based on supply and demand, we still have to consider these variables, the halving, the rewards, the fact that there's very limited supply that's left. So even in that worst case scenario, August, $47,000, September, $43,000, October, $63,000, November, $98,000, December 135. Not a bad worst case scenario. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below. The best case scenario, it remains, it doesn't need to be said, is obviously much more positive, much more rosy than that. But I like this kind of thinking. I personally like to sort of hope for the best, but almost plan for and expect the worst. Because then you're sort of braced for everything. Then you're ready to go, and then you're stronger. And then anything that is positive is kind of is gravy, right? Everything that works out to your benefit and that is better than expected is enjoyable. So let me know what you guys think about that. Let's launch into today's Ethereum giveaway. We're here on Altcoin Buzz News YouTube channel. This actually from Friday, because we didn't do a video yesterday on Saturday. So I'll go ahead and remind you guys that if you want to be eligible for these giveaways, number one, you have to subscribe to Altcoin Buzz News. Number two, you have to like the video. And number three, you have to comment with the letters ETH, ETH, or the word Ethereum. 965 comments in Friday's video. That may be our new all-time record. However, I gotta say, I'm happy with the engagement, but if there are 965 comments, there should be at least 965 likes. If you guys are commenting multiple times, obviously that doesn't count. Raffle Dash will filter you out. Anyways, good job on the comments. Let's get those likes a little bit higher if possible. We'll get the URL from Friday's video. I'll copy that. Okay, put that into Raffle Dash. As long as you meet the criteria and you're not a previous winner, well, then you stand a chance to win $50 worth of ETH. Today's winner, as you can see, is Dov Curtis. Always like your videos. ETH. Dov, congratulations, my man. You're the winner of $50 worth of Ether. Please go back, Dov, to yesterday's video. So that's this one right here that we were just looking at. Please go back to this video and find your comment, Dov. Reply to your own comment with the Ethereum address to which you would like us to send you your $50 worth of Ether. It is yours. Congratulations. We'll get back to you soon. Kudos. It feels nice to win, and it's very easy to do so. So you may as well all participate and throw your hat into the race. That's the latest, guys. I didn't want this to be too negative. I wanted to suggest that despite what's happening in China, medium and long term, it's actually quite positive for Bitcoin. I think it speaks to, if not answers, some of the criticisms that those wacky environmentalists have issued. That's number one. Number two, the death cross. I think maybe we're overhyping it. We're making a big deal out of it. It's not insignificant, but there's reason to believe that, even worst case scenario, things are still going to be decent in the long term. So not financial advice, but you guys know what I'm going to do. If we continue to dip, I'm going to continue to buy the dip, because you got to buy red to enjoy the green. Not financial advice. None of this is. Check out our Telegram Trade Signals group if you'd like to dive deeper into some projects, chart analysis, price predictions, different altcoin updates, some of your favorites. We track a lot of them, of course. I linked to that in the comments, actually. It's pinned to the top of the comments. None of this is financial advice, guys. Best of luck if you do choose to invest. Be sure to like, subscribe, share. Hit the bell to receive notifications if you enjoyed today's video. Stay safe, members of the Altcoin Buzz Army. As always, we do hope to see you again soon in the next one. Take care.